later. Moshe Handler. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming here. First of all, I have to thank everyone for coming. Everyone came here for one purpose, which is to do tshuva on one of the worst averas that could be. That's what this tikkun is. And Baruch Hashem, the rabbi is explaining, is doing the tikkun as per the Rashash. This was something that was very, very hard. You would have to fast 420 days to do what you're doing today. And today, we're able to do it thanks to the Rashash method. We're able to do the equivalent of 420 days of fasting in one day. Because we're using this method, because the rabbis are using certain kavanas, and with that extra power that we have for doing tshuva, we do a tremendous, imagine what it is, 420 days of fasting you just accomplished in one day. Not just that, you fixed up at averas that not only are in this lifetime, but you don't even know about, but in previous lifetimes. So all of us are thinking we're doing tshuva, and it's a great thing, and every year we come together to do the tshuva. But we're doing something a lot more than just doing tshuva. I was speaking to the rabbi on Friday and on Thursday, and he was learning how to do the, he goes over every year how to do the kavanas over and over again, so it's perfect. And he was telling me how in this particular avera, is besides being one of the worst possible averas that a person can do, this particular avera, it's not between you and God. It's not between you and Hashem, this avera. This avera causes major damage in Shemayim. And the major damage is caused in Shemayim. It causes major damage for Klal Yisrael. So by you sitting down and working so hard and doing tshuva and fixing this avera so much, and look how many people there are, by you doing that, you're fixing the situation for Klal Yisrael. You're doing much more than tshuva. You're fixing a lot of things. You have fixed many, many things in Shemayim. Baruch Hashem, look how many people there are. Look how many years ago nobody knew what Tikun Shovavim was, and now look how many people are coming and are fasting and are saying the tefillas, are listening to tefillas with the special shemus, and they're getting all the benefit from the Tikun Shovavim. So let's think about how does it work that we are responsible for things in Shemayim. How does that work? So one of the things that I was thinking about is people don't realize, also something I learned from Rabbi Kimmel. You have Adam Arishon. We started off the world with Adam Arishon, and everyone learned that piece of Chumash. Adam Arishon, why is he named Adam? What's the reason? Well, Hashem could have called him anything. He could have called him anything in the world. King, Malchus, whatever. Why did he call him Adam? So Rabbi told me there's many, many different reasons hidden in that name Adam. One of the things that's hidden in it, of course, Adam, and we learn it. When we go to yeshiva, the Rebbe teaches us that Adam is from the root Adama, right, which is earth. Why would Hashem call the first person earth? And the answer really is that how Adam behaves, that affects the whole earth. If Adam behaves well, the earth does very well. If Adam behaves badly, the earth suffers very, very much. And we see it. We actually see it. Adam did an Avera. Everybody has to die because of his Avera. All generations, we have to go through Misa in order to make up for Adam's Avera. The question is, what do we have to do with it? This guy does an Avera and I got to pay? This guy does an Avera and he was able to, Hashem was giving him everything and now I got to go to work because Hashem said you have to go to work. It doesn't seem fair at all. I mean, I didn't do it. You didn't do it. None of us did it. Why are we suffering for Adam? So the answer is, we are all Adam. That's the answer. We are all pieces of Neshama from Adam. We are all fixing his Averas. So that's extremely important. And we see it again in the next part. So it's a nice answer. We're all Adam. We're all paying for it. We see again in Parshas Nayah. What do we see in Parshas Nayah? The world was bad. They were doing all kinds of terrible things. So, what did Hashem do? The whole world, that's it. The world paid. So once again, the world was damaged because we have various that people do. So one of the things we have to learn is that we should not be doing Averis because we don't want to damage the world. But of course what we're doing today, that we're doing Tshuva, and I think most people are being serious and we really mean it, and we're doing all the Tshuva, we are fixing the world with a tremendous power that maybe was not available to fix the world many years ago. Because of communications, we're able to get together, 50, 60 people, and Baruch Hashem, every year it's growing, and we're able to do the Tikun Shovavim, and we're fixing the world. So, the question is, what kind of world are we fixing over here? Really, we got big trouble. If you really think about what's going on in the world, we have a lot of big trouble, and sometimes I wonder to myself, did we reach the Memtes Shari Toma like we did in Mitzrayim? It's a big question. Because we have, as a matter of fact, the government right now, where school policy is to teach the students that these Averis are good things. You got to feel good. Here's how to do it. Here's instructions on how to do it. And you have a president that forces into law that we got to pay for the Averis also. Just last week this happened, if you pay attention. If people are listening to radio or to television and you're not paying attention, and you are paying attention, you're going to see they're encouraging this all day long. All day long they're encouraging arayas, be with girls, do all kinds of Averis. Forget about make yourself happy. And self-pleasure. This is what the media is teaching us. This is what government teaches us. So here we are, a couple of guys over here, and we're fixing the potholes. We're battling against what society wants the world to do. We're trying to do tshuva on these Averis. We're trying to do better. And we have to become bigger and stronger. We have to become an army because we have a real battle. We got the entire media working against us. We have the entire government working against us. Government in Europe, same thing. Anything goes today. There's no morality like it used to be. Anything goes. So, here we are. We have our little army. But sometimes the little army wins. If the little army believes in itself, and the little army wants to win, it can win. We have the stronger ideas. We believe in it very, very much. And we're fortunate that in our little army, we have a leader like Rabbi Yitzchak Kimmel, who is not a person that runs away from a fight. I don't mean he's not going around beating up people or anything like that, but he's telling people the truth. People come to him. Why does he have such a following? People come to him, and he looks at you, and he tells you your whole life. Some people over here know he could tell you, he could change your life. And a lot of people sitting in this room, I know that happened to them. To change your life in 3 minutes. You can walk in and you can change your life. Last year I told you a story about 7 people who never dreamed about keeping Shabbos. And from one day to the next, they came in on Friday morning. By Friday afternoon, they were keeping Shabbos and they never changed it. I told you that story. And I see it over and over again. Rabbi Kimmel is an amazing person. Sometimes people come in, and I used to be there a lot. Sometimes we'd come in, and they'd have a list of all their children. And he'd say, oh, this one has a runny nose. This one was in bed a week ago. This one needs glasses. This one needs... just goes down the list, and the guy's sitting there, what is this, Or sometimes someone walked into a room, I'll never forget, someone walked into a room, a lady, and she wanted to ask about parents who were very sick in the hospital. She didn't even get to sit down. And the first thing he looked at them and he looked at her and he said, why are your mother and father not in the same room in the nursing home? She almost didn't make it to the chair. She almost fell down right then and there. And also, besides that when he looks at you, he sees this thing. Even when you're not around, sometimes he's seeing what you're doing. He's like a real time. In the computers, one of the big things that you want to see is in real time. Can I see things in real time? Not that I can run a program whenever I feel like it'll do it. So I have to tell you, there was a guy years ago, I'll never forget, he was he had his problems, and he did certain averos. I don't want to go into detail because this is more like a family-oriented thing, but he did certain averos that he shouldn't have done with women. And I was driving around with Rabbi Yitzchak on Friday afternoon, driving around with him. All of a sudden, Rabbi Yitzchak yells at me, "Call that guy Yaakov up." I'm not using his real name. "Call Yaakov up right now." I said, "Rabbi, but now before Shabbos, what do you go? Call him up right now?" Okay, so you know who said that? I dial the phone, and I go, "Yaakov, the rabbi asked me to call." And Yaakov's terrified on the other side of the phone. And I said, "Rabbi, what do you want to tell him?" I just got him on the line. "Ask him if he's alone right now." I said, "Yaakov, Rabbi wants to know if you're alone right now." So he goes, "Yes, I'm alone right now." And he says, "Tell him, better behave himself. I'm watching him right now." I don't know what's going on. But I tell him, the rabbi says you got to behave yourself, you know? So what happens? And then I go home for Shabbos. I don't think of it twice. Moshe Shabbos, this guy Yaakov calls me up. He says, "How did the rabbi know what I was doing?" I said, "I don't know. He just told me to call up. He was just thinking, call up the guy and see what's going on." He says, "Well, I was in a hotel room with someone that I shouldn't have been. And as soon as I knew the rabbi calling me, and as soon as you asked me if I'm alone, I quickly wrapped a towel around and I ran into the hallway so that the rabbi wouldn't catch me at a lie and I could say that I'm still alone." And he was so terrified. He tells me, "I was so terrified that I ran back home. I had nothing to do with it. I just ran back home." This is one of the cases where in real time he stopped the terrible avera from happening. And it sounds like a funny story, but that guy was terrified and his life was different. I don't want to say he became a complete Baal Tshuva because I don't know 100%, but definitely he changed for the better. That's definitely where we're going up. So how does this come about? So the question is, here's Rabbi Kimmel. You see he's sitting, his son is right here in front of me. I'm almost knocking over his head with the shtender. But his Rabbi Kimmel is on one hand, he's a regular person. He's married. He's got a son and a daughter, and you think everything's okay. People come to their house and they visit him on Shabbos, and things go on. And how does he do this? What's going on over here? What is it? So I have to tell you, I was to know Rabbi Kimmel. It's close to 25 years. So I was there right at the beginning from when this all started. He always had these abilities that he has, although it's much better, much sharper right now as time goes by and more Torah is learned. But the abilities were always the most amazing abilities you ever saw. It was just unbelievable. But you people only see, when you come in to Rabbi Kimmel, you only see that he's sitting in front of you and he's telling you, and maybe he's shocking you, and maybe he's amazing you, and you can hardly wait to get back. But you know that he's MS. He's changing your lives. Because we see the part where there's people who learn hundreds and thousands of Mishnayos because of him. And I've got to tell you, the people who learned the Mishnayos because of him, they've seen results. They didn't stop for a reason. They see their businesses are suddenly working well. They see that the things that Rabbi Kimmel tells you to do, it makes your life better. Then there are people, thousands of people who have changed their mezuzahs to much higher standards. Thanks, Rabbi Kimmel works with Shia Lindner over here. But these mezuzahs are done in a special way. And really, it's not his trick that Rabbi Kimmel is doing. You have to realize that. He's telling you halacha. He's telling you what's in the Mishnah Berurah. He's telling you to bring your mezuzahs up to the level of what the Mishnah Berurah says and the Beis Yosef says. And just by doing that, things are happening. And I tell you, I remember we were in Five Towns once. There was an extremely wealthy guy that came to him. And I think you know who that person is. So the guy came to him, and Rabbi Kimmel was talking to him. He had a particular problem with his mother. And Rabbi Kimmel said, "Your mezuzah is no good. Your mezuzah is no good." He said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "There's a mezuzah in the living room." I don't remember if it was the living room, but he described one of the rooms exactly, described the cover, described exactly where the mezuzah is. On the first line, in one of the olives, there's a hole right through the olive. So the guy said, "Rabbi, I don't believe you. I'm going to bring the mezuzah back right here, right now. I'm going to bring it back. I only live 5 minutes away." So he runs back. Sure enough, he runs back, and he comes with the mezuzah. He didn't open it until he got to the rabbi. And they open it up, and sure enough, there's a hole right through the olive. Exactly the description that the rabbi gave. So, these stories are amazing, and I could really go on. If I wanted to right now, believe me, I could go on for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and keep telling you stories. I will tell you, if you want to hear more stories, some people don't believe me. So Moshe Handler, he's telling stories, So this year I did a project. And the project was, I took people who came to Rabbi Kimmel, who had nisim happen to them, who had amazing stories happen to them, and I filmed them with that camera over there, right there, that filmed them. And I let them tell their own stories. So if you want to hear the stories in those people's words, all you got to do is you go to YouTube. I'm sorry that I'm saying that word and everything. But type Rabbi Kimmel documentary, you're going to see an hour's worth of people. And there's going to be a second version of it coming up later on, Mir Tashem, this week. Dr. Valens is on it, by the way. Dr. Valens, Simcha Goldberg is on it. There are a lot of people in this table. But anyway, but Baruch Hashem, they speak very, very well. They speak very well what's going on. So there are other things. So there's more. So this is the thing. So one of the ways, how do you know that Rabbi Kimmel is doing very, very good? Best thing is one way, and how do you know what he does? Sometimes he says something to people that gets other people angry. When you tell the truth, you have to get somebody angry. That's how it works. Not everyone wants to hear that they have to fix something. Not everyone wants to hear that they've got to do much better. But and sometimes, let's say a woman will come into him, and this is what happened one time. A woman came into Rabbi Kimmel and asked if a particular person who she wanted to marry was a good person. Was it a good shidduch? Now, a lot of times the answer is yes. But in her case, he told her, no, this is a very bad shidduch. He's going to abuse you. It's going to be very, very bad. You pay a price for that. And that guy, he took revenge, even though he never met Rabbi Kimmel. He never came in to ask how he could make himself better, which should have been the normal reaction. He wrote a very nasty internet site that's up once in a while. That's how he took revenge. So sometimes you gotta pay for being honest. But it's more important to be honest and tell people straight. We need, as Jewish people, we need someone who's going to be honest with us. And that's what I think, and I was there at this time. That's why, one of the reasons why I think Rabbi Alfasi told Rabbi Kimmel, and Moshe Handler was there, by the way, at the time, so told Rabbi Kimmel that you are going to become one of the biggest Mekabalim in the world. People need you. People have to go for you. One of the things is he has the guts to tell the truth, even when it's going to hurt him. And I have to tell you, the relationship that Rabbi Kimmel had with Rabbi Alfasi, I was there for a lot of it. Hundreds of phone calls that went back and forth. I dialed the phone, and I gave over the phone to Rabbi Kimmel. That's how I did it. Hundreds of phone calls. I don't know how many times they saw each other physically. Whenever Rabbi Alfasi was here in New York, Rabbi Alfasi always wanted to see Rabbi Kimmel. And when he was sick, Rabbi Alfasi was very sick the last year of his life. He had kidney issues. When he was sick, and he was here for treatment, he begged Rabbi Kimmel to come and see him every single day. He used to go together with him every single day. I put up on the internet also, Rabbi Alfasi actually wrote a pittel to Rabbi Kimmel that he should daven to him every single day. And until he was no longer alive, Rabbi Kimmel kept this pittel in one of his most important svarim. Every day while he was learning to him, and he was doing everything that he could to daven for Rabbi Alfasi. They loved each other. They were great friends. I know one other person is a witness to that, Shmuley Isakovich. I'm sorry to say his name, but I have to say, he actually saw in Eretz Yisrael how Rabbi Alfasi was anxiously awaiting Rabbi Kimmel to come. He couldn't wait in his house. He was sick, and he couldn't sit in his house. He wanted to see Rabbi Kimmel, so he ran out of his house. He ran to the porch to wait for him and to greet him. And if you see, it's on the video also in Rabbi Kimmel documentary. Shmuley talks about how he asked Rabbi Alfasi for a bracha, and Rabbi Alfasi's answer was, "You already have the bracha. You have Rabbi Kimmel. You have the bracha." So people don't realize that here's a person who gets up in the morning. He has 4 different kavrusas that I know about. It could be I don't know every kavrusa that he learns, and he does not waste time with these kavrusas, except when sometimes I show up and wreck it up for a couple of minutes. But he's learning Yom V'Layla. He's learning Yom V'Layla with these kavrusas, and he's spending deep. It's unbelievable. If you listen in even for a few minutes, your head is spinning from what they're learning. It's an amazing thing. So a lot of guys will learn. They'll go to base managers and they'll learn. I'm going to sleep today. No, he wears out the kavrusas. People don't realize what he does to these kavrusas. They can't go on. That's why he needs 4. Because he's learning and he's pushing them so much. They're exhausted. They say, Rabbi, can't take anymore. Can't take anymore. So he has to go on to the next one. Got to do the next one. Got to do the next one. Because they're all... And this is the way he is. I know, again, we're going to refer to Shmuley, but when he davens, when he goes to Eretz Yisrael, went a number of times to Lag Baimer, and Shmuley went with him. He's sitting there and he's davening for 4 hours straight, not moving, tefillas, unbelievable tefillas, powerful tefillas. And I'm going to tell you something that used to be before this was a big organization, before so many people were there, I used to have to get up every single morning, like 3 o'clock in the morning, sometimes 4 if we wanted to be relaxed. Then it was 4 o'clock in the morning. We used to go into Rabbi Mendel's shul. There's a shul here on East 13th Street between Avenue M and N. We used to go to Rabbi Mendel's shul. We had permission from the rabbi, and we would both say Tehillim, but the rabbi would say special tefillas. And how it worked was, when he would say the special tefillas, he would say it in front of the Aron Kodesh. We would open up the Aron, and he'd say that. And then I'd come to work, and all of a sudden I'd start hearing, oh, wait a minute, this person got better, this person's getting engaged, this person's getting married, this person's... All these people who they couldn't go anywhere, all of a sudden they started moving with these tefillas. See, a very powerful advocate is another role that a rabbi has. He's a tremendous advocate for people. He's your lawyer. You're a lawyer to Hashem. Sometimes he tells you back, he says, listen, we got to make a plea deal. You got to do a couple of mishnayos every single day, and Hashem will give you something. That's the plea deal. It's the equivalent. But it's a good deal. It's you get what you want, and Hashem gets something out of it. Hashem gets some pleasure out of some mishnayos, some learning. And sometimes he tells you to stop doing things that are bad. I know last year he had a guy that was reading the New York Post while he was davening. So he told him, How are you davening? You're reading the New York Post. You even named the paper. And what section? So what do you do? What do you do when you do that? Sometimes I come in, I hate to say this, but sometimes I come in, he tells me, Mike, your davening was like today. And he's right. What can you do? So you got to pick yourself up, and you got to be better next time. This is really part of what we're also doing over here. We have to know to support such a person. I don't only mean money support, of course. If you got $1 million, hand it over. This is a great place to give it. But there's also something called moral support. If something good happens to you, and you don't tell him, and he did the davening for you, you got to tell him, because that keeps him going. That's very, very important. He needs your support this way. He needs the moral support this way. That's what's very important. So, what I want to tell people is, what I want you to end with over here, is that you have such a tremendous resource over here. You don't realize how much Rabbi Kimmel davens for you, and how much effort. I'll tell you one more thing, by the way. We used to go to graves to daven. I have to tell you that. We used to go to graves, certain kavarim, and he would daven. And then when he would finish what he wanted to do in the davening, then he would list off the names. I used to have a big issue with that, because after the first time, because all the time, whenever he would start listing off the names, he'd start screaming at me, Moshe, tell this guy this is what he needs to do to fix this thing, because he'd get instant answers. So I had to grab a pen and paper and I had to write as fast as I can in order to be able to tell the people, because this was gold. The stuff that he was saying was gold, and it was very, very important. So I want to tell you people, you have a tremendous resource. You don't realize. You think you're looking at someone who's young and the beard, maybe you want to see a beard that's 5 times longer. Whatever the issue is, this is not the issue at all. For some reason, Rabbi Shalom has put the kaiches and ability here, And it's not a question. There's a discipline. There's a reason. I can understand the reason. There's a big discipline that's going on over here. I can't get up in the morning every single day like Rabbi Kimmel does. I can't learn 6 hours a day like Rabbi Kimmel does, or 7 hours, or 8 hours, depending on the day. I've never worn out a chavrusa yet, I have to tell you. They're all still happy when they leave me. But he's wearing them out. So it's like putting the rubber to the road. A race car, those tires are no good at the end of the race because they've been holding on to the road. They've been tracking. He's tracking. And if you're going to sit in the race car, you're going to be tired out. And that's what's happening to those chavrusas. So what I'm telling you is, take advantage of the resource, but support the resource also. Make sure there's moral support, very, very important. And you have to understand that we are changing the world. What we're doing over here, when you go on and you tell people about Rabbi Yitzchak and you tell them what he says, because all the things that he says are normal things. Learn more Mishnayos, get better mezuzahs, go to Minyan. All these things, these are all things your Rebbe's have told you all the time. It's not a chiddush. But when you hear it from a guy who knows your whole life, and who knows every single secret you have, and every single mistake that you made, oh, that's a big problem. That's a big thing. Then you take it much more seriously. You see in front of your eyes. There's a very important lesson to learn from it. You have to learn that if a human being, because when it gets down to it, it's still a bust of a gun, it's still a human being. If a human being can see so deeply in your life, and so real time in your life, don't you think Hashem can see even better? If Hashem gave this to a human being, don't you think Hashem can see better? So the lesson of knowing Rabbi Kimmel should be that if this is what he could do, imagine, you can't imagine what Hashem could do, because Hashem is much more than a human being. And there's no end, there's no insight to what he could do. So this is what you have to learn. And I want to congratulate the people one more time for coming and for doing this great tshuva. It's a big kiddush Hashem when so many people come together and do this tshuva. And you all to be congratulated. I hope we see you next year for bigger and better things. Hopefully our tshuva will bring Mashiach.